Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, August 15th, 2024. We have a special edition of the Runners Live because we had to get this information out to you guys. If you believe that the healthcare system is broken and there is a better way going outside the system and creating our own new system, then you're going to want to pay attention today. We're going to be listening to Dr. Eric Nepute that Ricardo and I got to meet and hear speak out in Phoenix a couple weeks ago. Mims, why are you excited about this, and why are you headed to Vegas this weekend?
Yeah, man, I'm pumped, man. I get excited about value. I get excited about life-changing opportunities, systems, products. And I'm telling you right now, the time that we're in right now, the information that's coming out, the opportunity, the innovation that's happening, not in just the financial sector, but in the healthcare, now we call self-care sector as well, is huge. And when you find something that is literally changing the landscape in the way that people look at their health, understand how their body works, and actually have a real system, a real solution, patented technology, to actually help people live a happier, healthier, wealthier life, that gets me excited. So I'm very excited to go to Vegas for the launch of this and what's going to take place, and be able to bring this to the community and even use it myself. Because I'm very big on health. I'm big on health, just as big as I am on wealth. But I haven't found something that really got me excited, that was really innovative, that was unique, that can benefit the human body in so many different areas, like what we're sharing now with peptides and everything else. So, Mike, I'm pumped up and excited. And I can't wait to release this to the world and come back out of Vegas and really help some people really improve their lives and put their cells to work for their benefit.
I like that. Put their cells to work. And guys, that's what this is about, right? Self-care is the new healthcare. Is if you know what you're doing and you have the right people who understand the way these things work, we're going to help a lot of people live a more healthier life. So we're going to be listening to Dr. Eric Nepute today. He is from around the St. Louis area, has been practicing medicine for over 20 years. And his story is amazing. I think he's going to go over a little bit, but just so you guys know, during the pandemic, he was basically telling people natural remedies to use to help keep their bodies safe and healthy during that time. And he got sued by the federal government. He went to court, beat them, and they saw what he was doing and they wanted to be a part of it. So he was able to get some huge FDA approvals on different medicines and, peptides to help people with almost anything that is ailing them. So Ricardo sent me this podcast he's doing now called Pep Talk. So we're going to listen to episode 2 of it and kind of react to it. We really just want to expose you guys. Anyone who, didn't fall for the lies during the pandemic, who knew that nature and natural medicine was the way to go. Most of them know who Dr. Eric Nepute is. Huge hero in the truth movement, in the real health movement. So we're going to be listening to him. I'm going to go ahead and manifest this, Mims, as we will have the real Dr. Eric Nepute on the show live very soon. So make sure when you're out in Vegas, put that little bug in his ear, because I would love to have him on sometime.
Oh, definitely. And Mike, the U.S. government sued him for $500 million. Okay. Imagine that. That's probably I think the most amount of money they've ever sued somebody for, an individual, maybe $500 million, $500 million. They sued him and he beat them. He won. Okay. And he has a patented technology that allows the peptides to pass the GI tract, giving up to 80% absorption and a whole lot more, folks. So this is huge. Most people don't know about peptides, but trust me, once you understand what peptides are and how you can benefit from what Dr. Nepute has patented and how it's going to help your body, you're going to want to be a part of this. You're going to want to share this with everybody. This is going to spread like wildfire because it's that good. It's really that good, folks. So I'm pumped up and excited. And I agree with you, Mike. We probably will have Dr. Nepute on the Runners Live show in the near future.
Yes. And if you guys don't know, peptides, right now, most of them are taken through a shot in your stomach. If you guys have heard of that, the shot that people are getting in their stomach that's helping them lose lots of weight, That's a peptide. It starts with an O. I can't remember the name of it. South Park did a whole series on it. That was funny. They called it the Lizzo shot. But this one you take orally, but you get the same absorption rate, and it's actually more effective than shooting with a needle. So let's get into this and listen to Dr. Nepute drop some knowledge.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Eric Nepute. Hope we're having an amazing day wherever in the world you are. Hope you're well, hope you're happy, hope you're blessed. Look, I'm excited to be with you today. You know, this is Pep Talk, and Pep Talk is all about pepping you up. It's all about giving a little pep in your step. It's about educating you and telling you, your family and loved ones what you can do to improve your health, your wealth, and your life. Look, those of you that know me, you know I'm a physician. I've been practicing now for over 20 years. I've helped tens of thousands of doctors across the globe, trained them, helped them educate and help more patients. And one of the biggest things that I get, that I just want to take a couple moments and just do a little fireside chat with you, is about the problem with our healthcare system. You know, right now, our healthcare system is neither healthy nor do they care. I know many of you have experienced this in your unfortunate experiences with the healthcare system. I just had a patient of mine that I spoke to yesterday. I hadn't talked to him in years, and he reached out to me last night and told me about this horrible, tragic issue that he had secondary to a respiratory infection. He went to 3 different hospitals. Nobody could help him. He just got out of the hospital and already got his medical bills and over $100,000 in medical bills that he owes, and his insurance is only paying a fraction of it, and he's not any better. How many of you can relate to that? What if there was a system out there that was better? What if there was a system out there that could help you find the root cause of your problem? What if there was a system out there that actually doctors and nurses and healthcare practitioners actually cared about you and they actually wanted to teach you about your health? I'm going to talk to you today about our failed healthcare system. And I'm going to tell you another thing I want you to think about. I want you to remember this. If our healthcare system is too big to fail, which is what I hear all the time, the answer is to create a new one. And we're part of that revolution. And we know the only way you can free your body is to first free your mind. And you got to understand what the problems are before you can understand the solution. So we're going to dig in deep into what is wrong with the United States and Western medicine's healthcare system today. So here we go, folks. I don't always read from notes, but today I am because I don't want to miss a thing. So let's dig into this thing. Did you know that annually we spend $5 trillion per year on our healthcare system in the United States? $5 trillion. I mean, think about that. And by the way, you and I would be okay with that if that $5 trillion got us the best results and we were the healthiest country on the planet, but we're not. If you look at the top 100 industrialized countries on the planet, and I bet most of you probably couldn't even name 100 industrialized countries. But if you take the top 100 industrialized countries and you put the US in that 100, and you took the total of all the money spent on healthcare with the 99 other countries that are out there, the US still spends more. And again, we would be okay with that if we had the highest health rate and we were the happiest and we were the fittest and we spent but we're not. We're in the...
Did I hear that right? Did he just say we spend more money than the other top 99 countries?
Yep. And it's the same thing like we do with our military. But I mean, in healthcare, we're spending more money than the top 99 countries combined. And we don't have a better healthcare system.
That's crazy.
Horrible.
And yes, thank you, Stephanie. It is Ozempic. That is the peptide that people are using to lose weight. And now we're going to be able to do that orally at a much lower price. Because Ozempic, I think Ozempic's over $1,000, and most of the time you can't even get it because it's so popular right now. So we're going to have something that's better, that's orally taken versus a shot.
And it's bigger than that, folks, because the power of peptides and this amino acid has applications that are not just for losing weight, but there are more applications that help and heal your body and put your cells to work that you're going to be able to benefit from. So that's what also gets me really excited as well. This is bigger than just weight loss.
Correct. Yeah. Basically about anything you could think of, any issue, there's a solution when we look at real medicine and real health.
Yeah. The lower third of that. And in some cases, like infant mortality, we're way at the bottom. And did you know that it's been reported even by the United States government that 2.5 trillion. 50% of that money that's spent on our supposed healthcare is an absolute waste. And it's blown on literally administrative paperwork that does not move the dial. Literally, that money could get lit on fire and it doesn't improve the outcomes that you and your family get when it comes to Western medicine. I mean, think about that for a minute. And by the way, did you also know that out of that $5 trillion a year, that 250 billion with a B, let me say that again, 250 billion of that money goes back to kickbacks and paybacks to the insurance companies, doctors groups, and other lobbyist organizations. That's a massive system that, by the way, is broken and it's corrupt. And I want to dig into that, but I want you to understand, you can't understand where we're at, or you can't understand where we're going until you understand where we've been. Now, do you know how healthcare started? Like this modern era of healthcare that started in the United States of America? How many of you have ever heard of a guy by the name of Andrew Carnegie or John D. Rockefeller? You heard of those guys? You know, tycoons of their time, right? These guys are the turn of the centuries. These are the oil and the railroad and the steel industry, right? Those are the guys, the same trillionaires back then, right? Did you know that they were the ones that started the first pharmaceutical company? That's right, in the United States. Did you know that? And they actually hired a guy by the name of Flexner. And this Flexner actually went around to all the medical schools and chiropractic schools and went to all the universities and all the acupuncture schools and all these places and said, look, if you'll join our ranks, if you'll do what we ask you to do and you promote our drugs, because that's what Rockefeller and Carnegie wanted to do, that they'll promote them and elevate them. Because, and by the way, we all know this, especially since 2020, we know whoever controls the megaphone or the media controls the message. And folks, that's what Carnegie and Rockefeller did. They hired this Flexner to go around and go to these colleges and say, if you will promote our stuff, sell our drugs, pimp our medicine out to your patients, then we'll pay you good money. We'll elevate you in the societal ranks that are out there, and we'll make sure that your competition is destroyed. And by the way, if you don't join our ranks, we're going to destroy you. Mm-hmm. So Flexner was sent to the medical field, and the medical doctors and the leaders of the medical world at that time said, okay, we'll join your ranks. They're going to build us the best hospitals. They're going to promote us in the media. They're going to lobby so we have the best laws, that we make the most money. As long as we sell your drugs, okay, we're in. So they sold themselves out. The Hippocratic Oath of first do no harm got thrown right out the window with that deal. And then Flexner went to another group of doctors who were primary care doctors at the turn of the century called osteopaths. They went to the Still family. Dr. Still was the creator of osteopathy in America. And they said, look, if you don't join our ranks, then we're going to destroy you. If you don't teach just like the medical doctors do, if you don't promote the drugs just like we ask you to promote, then we're going to destroy you guys as well. Because at the time, osteopaths promoted nutrition, lifestyle changes like eating well and exercising and sleeping well. What a novel idea to get someone healthy. And they manipulated the spine and muscles. And that's how they got folks healthy. Well, they were intimidated by Flexner, who said that he was going to destroy that profession from the inside out and from the government in. And so they said, okay, we'll do exactly what you do. And now to this day, you can't tell the difference between a medical doctor and an osteopath. They're trained the same, even though they're massively different at the roots of what they originally set out to do. Then they went to these other groups like chiropractors. They went to a family called the Palmer family. D.D. Palmer and B.J. Palmer were the founders of what's known as American chiropractic, modern chiropractic in this world. And they went to the chiropractic world and said, hey, we want you to promote our drugs. We want you to sell our stuff. And if you do, we'll give you all the same things we're giving the osteopaths and we're giving the medical doctors. If you don't, we're going to destroy you. And just like a bunch of good chiropractors, a bunch of rugged individualists, they thumbed their nose and said, we're not doing that. And so that's when the American Academy of Medicine started something called the Committee of Quackery. Have you heard of that before? You ever heard of somebody called a quack? Did you know that that's propaganda? Like that's literally propaganda. That was the American Medical Association, which by the way is the lobbyist group for doctors that are out there. And by the way, just so you know, less than 12%, let me say that again, less than 12% of practicing doctors today have a membership in the American Medical Association. And so the AMA at the time started this thing called the Committee on Quackery. They went after chiropractors and they went after naturopathy practitioners and acupuncturists and herbalists and nutritionalists and Ayurvedic healers and all these healers that have been around since the turn of the century. Every culture has their own healing story to it, right? Every culture, Native American culture, Celtic healing, all these. And they called them all quacks. That's why you hear that. That's where that term came from. And it's absolutely insane. And still to this day, that propaganda is still pushed, even though it's illegal to do that now. Did you know that in the 1970s, there was a lawsuit called the Wilkes trial? And the Wilkes trial actually happened in the great state of Missouri, which I live in. And in Missouri, Chester Wilkes sued the American Academy of Medicine, and they won. And they won because it's illegal to call a doctor a quack. It's illegal to go after another profession. Like, why don't you just stay in your own lane and take care of your own people? The reason why they have to do that is the same reason why Flexner and Carnegie and Rockefeller actually went after other professions in the first place. It's because they wanted to corner the market. Like, you know, we live in America. It's a capitalist society. The free market should determine what a person does with their money, their body, their health, and etc. Not a corporation, right? Well, that's not what big medicine thinks. Big medicine is trying to control you through propaganda. And by the way, if the last 4 or 5 years since 2020 hasn't taught you that, I don't know what rock you've been living under. But even more, there's even more to the story than that. Did you know that to this day, in the 1960s, insurance started, right? You know your insurance companies, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, Aetna, even Medicare. And people say, oh, insurance is amazing. Insurance covers therapies and does all these things. Folks, that's where that $2.5 trillion of wasted spending goes towards. What if we lived in a society where you could have access to affordable precision testing? What if you could have access to affordable precision treatments as well? What if you could have that? That does exist, but they don't want you to know that. What if you could actually have doctors help you find the root cause of their problems and not just treating their symptoms? That does exist to this day, but they don't want you to know that. Why? Because it takes money out of their pocket. We need more people less sick. Wouldn't you agree? I want you to understand it's way easier to prevent illness than it is to treat a disease once you have it. And by the way, let's talk about the words prevent, treat, mitigate, those kinds of words, or even the C word, cure. Oh.
So yeah, this is, I got to pull something up here just to show you this, M.I.M.S. But yeah, this is 100% spot on of anyone that goes out of line from whatever the accepted norm is that the powers that be hold is called a quack, a conspiracy theorist, whatever it is. Your take on Eric Nepute kind of really just, I didn't know about this, the quackery thing. I'm going to pull it up here in a minute, but I want to get your response.
Well, yeah, it's powerful when you know, prevention is better than cure. That's really what it comes down to. And, you know, like he's mentioned, they want to treat the symptoms because there's money in treating you. There's not money in curing you, but even better than the cure is prevention. And this is what he's talking about with precision testing and, you know, and knowing exactly what it is that your body needs and how to aid it so you can be in a better, healthier cellular state, you know. But, you know, this is the apocalyptic moment that you should be having. If this is the first time you're hearing this type of information, this should be eye-opening. This should be making you want to learn and understand more and then actually take some action, because that's what the revolution is about. You know, it's about the waking up to how things used to be done and how they can be done and how much better that is for you and your family and your lifestyle. And so, I mean, I'm not surprised with the propaganda. We're seeing a lot of it even now. And he talked about how the Rockefellers and them were buying off these doctors and whatnot. Mike, when I was listening to that, it reminded me of the Harris campaign paying influencers, okay, to promote what she's got going on. This is nothing new, but the problem is that, you know, the people aren't aware that this is happening and that they're being, you know, exploited for their lack of knowledge and knowing of what's taking place behind the scenes. But this is why this gets me so excited. I really get excited about information that really exposes the lies and the corruption of the past and in how there is a solution that can transform our lives so we can live happier, healthier, and wealthier living, and legacy and generationally.
100%, man. I just wanted to show this so people can just, in case some people are still not, don't understand what's going on here. This is an official website of the United States government. Looking back at the lawsuit that transformed the chiropractic profession, Part 4, the Committee on Quackery. This article is to provide a brief review of the history of the origins of the American Medical Association's increased efforts to contain and eliminate the chiropractic profession and the development of the Chiropractic Committee, which would later become the AMA Committee on Quackery. So again, this is exactly what they do, is they project what they do onto other people. They call them names. They try to isolate them and then basically ruin them. And anyone that steps out of line when it comes to vaccines, when it comes to the healthcare system, this is exactly what they do every time, so that they can have a monopoly and control and not even allow dissenting voices.
Wow. And what happens is when somebody hears that the AMA says something, to them it's as good as God said it. It's like,
right.
That's the word, that's what it is. And now you understand the founding and what they're about. Go ahead, brother.
More facts, man. Let's get some more truth in.
Oh, you can't use the word cure. Did you know that? Did you know that those 4 words, prevent, treat, mitigate, and cure, those are words that are owned by the pharmaceutical industry? They're owned by the lobbyists. The lobbyists went and petitioned so that you can't say the word cure. You can't say the word treat. You can't say the word prevent. Folks, during COVID, I personally, as a physician, we saw over 11,000 patients in all of our practices that were positive for COVID-19, and not one person died.
Wow.
And we were making prescriptions for things like lifestyle changes and eating well and taking vitamins and nutrients. And we used the big scary word like ivermectin and vitamin C and D and zinc. And the government sued us for $508 billion. Let me say that again. $508 billion we were sued for. Why? Because the same thing that they were doing then with Rockefeller and Carnegie, they're doing again today. It's the same playbook, folks. It's just a different name. And the insurance companies now dictate the level of health and care that you receive as an individual. And that's not okay. That's not okay. Did you know that your insurance that you have, that you pay for, most people right now are paying thousands of dollars a month for health insurance premiums. I know that you're in that same boat. But when you now go to your doctor to use your insurance, most people have a high deductible, $2,500 or $3,500 annually for a deductible for themselves. Their family's twice as much. That means when you go to the doctor, you still have to use that $2,500 or $3,500 out of pocket before you can actually, have any coverage or anything paid for. You don't have insurance. You're part of a scam. You want to talk about a true Ponzi scheme?
Yep.
That's a true Ponzi scheme.
Folks,
I've been in practice over 2 decades now. Literally, I've seen hundreds of thousands of patients in all my clinics. And I will tell you, the insurance companies would much rather pay for a $40,000 to $50,000 surgery, which, by the way, has massive amounts of failure. And most people get hooked up on opioids and painkillers the rest of their life after the fact of this surgery, which the long-term effects are not positive of the surgery or those drugs, than to pay for, I don't know, $2,000 to $3,000 worth of physical therapy and chiropractic that will really fix the problem in the first place. It's insanity. And folks, just like Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again and expecting a different result. Folks, it's time to stop the insanity. But unless you understand where we came from, you can't understand where you are and where we're going. And what if there was a parallel system that's out there? What if there was a parallel system that's out there that could help you find the root cause of your problem, and you wouldn't have to go through the horrible system and not get the treatment that you need and deserve and have to pay exorbitant amounts? I told you about my patient, $100,000 for being in 3 different hospitals for 2 weeks. This guy was in the hospital for a respiratory infection that they still haven't been able to resolve. And all he is now is more confused and $100,000 in debt. It's an absolute joke. And I'm telling you, you do not have to participate anymore. So let's dig a little deeper into some of the messes that are in our current healthcare system that you need to be aware of. And by the way, I know this resonates with you. I know that you feel this. I know that you've experienced what I'm talking about. So let's go through my top 20 reasons that the United States and Western medicine healthcare system has failed us. So number one, we have a massive high infant mortality rate. Did you know that? Did you know that despite spending more on healthcare per capita than any other country out there, we have the highest rate of infant mortality amongst developed nations? I mean, that is an indication of a systemic failure on a level that we can't even imagine. Your babies are at risk more in America than any other developed country on the planet. Are you okay with that? Because I'm not. And what about the fact that chronic disease in children has risen over the last 30 years by 60%. 60%. Let me say that again. Chronic disease in children has risen by 60% over the last 30 years. That is crazy. So why don't we take a look at the system that leads to that? Not just the healthcare system, but the food system, the water system, the education system. There's a lot that goes into this. And we're going to unpack all those things. That's what Pep Talk's all about. We're all about education, inspiration, motivation, and giving you action steps that you can take to help yourself. But you have to know where you're at and where we're at before you can take a step into a different direction. By the way, what I'm telling you is completely factual. This is common sense, but unfortunately, we live in a society where common sense, folks, it ain't that common. Mm-hmm. Number two on my list, the lack of root cause treatment. Our healthcare system focuses on managing your disease. Let me say that again. They focus on managing your disease. Does anybody ever remember, you guys know Chris Rock? You know Chris Rock, the famous stand-up comedian and actor? Chris Rock's amazing. Chris Rock used to do a skit, and he would talk about, ain't no money in the cure. Ain't no money in the cure. Nobody wants to cure things because there's no money in that. The money is managing your disease. For example, you ever heard of something called type 2 diabetes? Type 2 diabetes, by the way, is really two problems. It's a fat metabolism problem where you're not metabolizing fat properly. And number two, it's overconsumption of carbohydrate syndrome. It's so easy to fix. We have a program that we do in our practices, and we've created with doctors all across the globe that has a 90+% reversal rate with type 2 diabetes. Without drugs, without surgery, it can be done. Did you know that the American Medical Association, the American Diabetic Association, has a 2% success rate in reversing type 2 diabetes? Wow. That is laughable. If you got a 2% on any of your grades or tests or classes or driver's test or whatever in your life, what would happen? You would fail miserably and nobody would ever allow you to go to the next class or have that certification. But yet, the American Diabetic Council and the American Diabetic Society still promotes medications that haven't been proven to be beneficial long-term, and they're telling you diets that are just absolutely asinine. We're going to help you. That's what Pep Talk is all about. We're going to help you with a roadmap for that. By the way, not just with diabetes. I have a really good friend of mine. Let me tell you the story. I have a friend of mine. He's a very famous doctor. We'll have him on the program sometime soon, I'm sure. But he's a classically trained medical doctor, and he's also he's a researcher, PhD. And at a very prestigious university that has massive funding to do research on lots of things like cancer, he actually found a vitamin A extract. They took an extract out of vitamin A and are able to literally cure certain types of cancers with this vitamin A extract. And when he presented his findings to the review board at his university to go and take this to the next level, to get it approved and funded and taken to the world, he was so excited that his data and research proved this clinically, that they extracted this molecule out of vitamin A and literally cured certain types of cancers. Do you know what he told me came out of the mouth of the administrators of the university? They literally said, what would happen if we cured cancer to our economy? What would happen to our economy if cancer was cured? My friend said that he resigned on the spot and said, please remember that the next time you or a loved one gets cancer. I mean, think about that, folks. I was just talking to some congressmen recently about this thing called Operation Moonshot. Operation Moonshot is the current administration's plan to cure cancer. And I said, it's laughable. And they said, why is that? I said, it's laughable because there are over 1,000 chemicals allowed in our food supply to this day by the FDA that are known carcinogens and hormone and endocrine disruptors, but we're going to try to cure cancer? The cause is the cure, folks. If we eat well, think well, breathe well, sleep well, we will be well. But that's not the way that the system that was started by Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Flexner is to this day. Barons started it, and barons are still running it. Number 3, iatrogenic death. Did you know, if you go right now and you Google, what are the top 3 causes of death in America? And what are the top 5 causes of death globally in any country? Typically, number 1 is heart disease. Now, if you go to Japan, it's number 2. In the US, number 2 in most other Western worlds is cancer. So it's heart disease and cancer. Do you know what number 3 is? Number 3 is iatrogenic death. Death from medicine. Now, it's been reported that about 650,000 Americans die every year from heart disease. It's been reported that about 550,000 Americans die every year from cancer. It's been reported by Dr. Gary Knoll, MD, PhD, in his work, Death by Medicine, that some 900,000 people a year die in the US alone from properly prescribed drugs, from drug interactions that kill people, from infections that are and hospital errors that happen. So even though it's labeled as the 3rd leading cause of death, most experts say it's number 1. I'll let you be the cause of that. But the system that we're spending $5 trillion a year is the top 3 leading cause of death in America. That's insane. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Wow.
But I bet you didn't know that. See, this is what frustrates me. Knowledge is power, right? No, it's not. It's the application of that knowledge, which is called wisdom, that's really powerful. So here's number 4. We have an inefficient system. I told you this. We spend $5 trillion a year. 2.5 of that is completely wasted. Give me that 2.5 trillion. I'll do something good with it. I promise. And y'all will be eating well, and we'll solve homelessness, and we'll just have a big dang party. How about that? Let me be in charge of it. We'll fix all these problems. I get a little frustrated because, man, this is common sense to me, but most people don't know that this is the way it is. What about number 5, lack of communication between providers? This is a big issue. What does that mean? See, in today's world, medicine is compartmentalized. Do you remember when you had children and you got that little ball that has all those shapes and the kid has to take the round shape, put it in the round hole, the star, and put it in there? That's what healthcare is. If you go to a doctor and you're a little circle and you don't fit in their circle hole, they punt you to the next doctor. If you don't fit in that circle, they punt you to the next doctor. If you don't fit in that one, they tell you you're crazy and they give you some crazy pills. Because nowadays, medicine is so compartmentalized. These doctors should know how the human body works. Like,
They have no clue.
my father's a mechanic, and he can tell you how an engine works. Not just the carburetor. He doesn't specialize in just the carburetor or spark plugs or tires or lug nuts. He knows how the whole damn machine works. That's what a doctor should do. But you don't understand. It's so compartmentalized in medicine that even if you're an orthopedic surgeon, you might only be a shoulder specialist or an elbow specialist. Like, that's how crazy it is. You go to your cardiologist and they have no clue that your gut could be causing heart issues. And they're not communicating. And your pharmacist, who's supposed to be the referee middleman of all the drugs you're prescribed by all your specialists, which is absolutely insane. The average American is on 7 medications, which, by the way, we know that every medication has side effects. Look at the end of every commercial on television. But did you know that never, ever, ever in the history of the world have we combined drugs together to study them to see what the compounding effect is? That's crazy.
Wow.
But yet people are just popping pills like it's nobody's business. More drugs, more surgery, more pills does not fix the cause. It is part of the problem.
Facts.
Number 6, the pharmaceutical industry is profiteering on a level that you can't even imagine. By the way, the pharmaceutical industry, for example, look at during 2020 to 2024. There's a little known company called Moderna. Moderna is a pharmaceutical company. In 2020, they were worth about $100,000. Now to this day, they're worth about $120 billion. How is that possible? It's insane what's happening. Your drug shouldn't cost you hundreds of dollars a month, even after your insurance. It's crazy. And the administrative cost. Again, 50%, this is number 7, administrative costs. 50% of all of healthcare expenses are administrative. Makes no sense. Failed medications and overdoses. This is one of the leading causes of death in America right now. People get addicted to drugs because a doctor puts them on a painkiller for their knee. It's called an opioid. And then they get off that opioid, which, by the way, they should wean off, not just cold turkey like doctors do. And now they go and buy fentanyl. And we know what's happening with fentanyl coming across the border. It's killing people, young people. Soccer moms are more addicted to painkillers and fentanyl than people that you would think you see on television that are, strung out, drugged out. Number 9, what about the inefficiency in the FDA system? Did you know the FDA that approves your drugs, they do not have independent scientists that go out and verify the studies that were given? Like if your drug company did a study and said this drug is safe, we did it by a third-party study and gave it to the FDA. The FDA paid for that study to say what it needed to say. So it's not as protective as you would think. And boy, I'm telling you from personal experience, the FDA, the federal government, a lot of these folks kind of remind me a lot of the movie The Wizard of Oz. You've seen this before? Remember the scene in The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy and Toto and the Tin Man come back and they bring the broom back after they defeated the witch. They won their conquest and now they can go back to Kansas again. And then Toto goes and pulls back the curtain and there's some crazy old man pulling the levers. That's our healthcare system. Yep. They ain't nobody driving the bus. That's why it's not about healthcare. It's about self-care. I want you to understand that. The new wellness is self-care. You have to be your own advocate. You have to know the truth. And that truth will set you free if you'll apply it to your life. Number 10, insurance companies are in control. I already hammered that hardcore. Your insurance companies dictate the level of health and care that you get. As a practicing physician, if you bring your insurance card to me and I treat you as a patient, I have to justify to a doctor who's never seen you in their entire life, who gets bonused off of you not getting payment for, or me not getting payment for the care that you get. And I have to justify to this dillweed, and I'm being very, Dr. Dillweed, sorry, Dr. Dillweed. I have to justify to this guy that this is okay for them to do. It's crazy. Number 11, the massive amount of healthcare cost is insane. Let me give you an example. In our offices, we do a lot of regenerative medicine treatments. We do a lot of exosomes, stem cells, platelet-rich plasma injections. We're going to teach you about that. You did that same injection in an office like mine, you get maybe $100, $150 for a reimbursement on it. You do that same injection in a surgical center or a hospital, it's $10,000 per treatment for the same treatment and the same outcome. There's so many stories like that, it's not even funny. Number 12, unnecessary.
And let's just pause to think about that, Ricardo. Like something that, could help somebody should only cost about $200. Right. But when you go to the hospital and you factor in all the bureaucracy, it costs $10,000. Yeah. Most people can't do that. I mean, this is why we're having this healthcare crisis, because of the bloat. This whole system is just broken.
Yeah, it's greed. And it's been going on for a very long time, but it's been going on long enough and it's coming to an end. And this is what I get excited. I hope, when I wear the 2024 reset, it wasn't necessarily just for the economy. And when we're looking at just the time that we're in, the planet and everything is moving in a different space and people are becoming more aware. Information is coming at our fingertips. And like Dr. Eric Nepute said, it's not knowledge that's power, right? But we know it's applied knowledge that's power. And that's why this information is so powerful, because you can't really appreciate this information and the solution until you understand the problem, right? And so that's why we're showing you the problem first of the system, because then once you realize a problem, you're going to be that much encouraged, that much excited, that much ready for the solution and to actually take advantage of it. And in this time right now that we're in right now, this is the perfect time for it, because they're going to continue to try to make you sick, put, propaganda, confiscate your health and your wealth. And it's more important that you counter that with applied knowledge. And that's why, we get so excited about information and opportunities and systems that we share that are really changing people's lives all across the planet.
So if you guys are watching this, obviously the powers that be, YouTube, Facebook, don't want people to hear this. So like this video, share it out, Send it to any friends that you have that are into natural health, who want to escape this corrupt, bloated healthcare system that we have here in America, because I believe this is truly going to be a revolution of health. We just got about 4 more minutes left, so let's go ahead and finish up.
Procedures and testing. This happens all the time. I cannot tell you how crazy this is. So many overprescriptions of test and test and test that does not change the care plan. Most doctors are ordering tests to cover their butt and to rack up your bill. Number 13, chronic disease management. I told you, they manage your disease. They don't treat the root cause. It's been said that most diseases are caused by mineral deficiencies, toxicities, and the lack of not sleeping well, eating well, moving well, thinking well, and breathing well. But when's the last time your doctor ever assessed any of those things? They don't. They just give you a drug, a potion, a lotion, or a surgery, and hopefully that fixes your problem. It doesn't. The next one, lack of preventative care. Like, you've heard that phrase, an ounce of prevention is worth a ton of a cure. Well, that's true, but only if you apply it. And the establishment that's out there now doesn't do that. They manage your disease. Prevention is the key. Number 15, access to care. Millions and millions of Americans lack access to essential, true healthcare, which I call root cause care. Number 16, mental health services. We're not treating the root cause of mental health. We're going to do segments on this on our Pep Talk, guys, but I'm telling you, the research and data shows deficiencies, toxicities, and problems with the gut microbiome contribute more to mental illness than any other thing that's out there. Healthy gut has a healthy brain. Number 17, health disparities. This is a big one, man. This is whenever people, because of their social, economical, their race, their religion, their creed, their background, they don't have access that they deserve. You shouldn't, because of where you live. This is America. This is the greatest country on the planet. You should have access to everything that you need and deserve, and it should be affordable. Number 18, pharmaceutical advertising. We're the only country on the planet. The United States of America is the only country on the planet now that allows the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies to directly market to you as a consumer on television. And inadequate.
I found that out, I think, when we were in Phoenix, and it blew my mind. So I hope you guys caught that. America is the only country in the world that allows pharmaceutical drugs to be marketed directly to us. And bro, like, I almost never watch TV, but if I do, I swear 50% of all the commercials are for drugs.
Yep. Yeah, it's insane. And it, when people realize, just even the ingredients that are a lot of the food here, it's not allowed in a lot of countries overseas. They're slowly poisoning us through the water, with fluoride and other stuff, and the toothpaste and the chemicals that they're putting in the food. And like I said, this is why I get so excited, because this is information that I've known for a while, but never has an opportunity or a system like this come to place where we really can expose and have such a truth fighter like Dr. Eric Nepute and with his system and patented technology to really help aid people in self-care and heal from the inside out. This is what gets me really excited, to really find solutions that are solving major problems. This is going to be probably the biggest opportunity that we've ever been a part of to really help heal people in their lives.
And again, just make sure you guys are praying and sending good wishes to Dr. Eric Nepute. I'm sure he has a huge target on his back now. There's no telling what the powers that be will do to try to stop this, but I'm excited for what's coming.
With support of alternative medicine. Folks, the studies are clear that alternative medicine, chiropractic, acupuncture, naturopathic work, eating well, sleeping well, brain balance therapies, peptide therapies, natural hormone replacement, they work. They help people at the root cause of the problem, but you don't have access to it because you don't know, and they don't want you to know that. We're going to fix that here on Pep Talk. Number 19, inadequate support of adequate alternative care, like I said. And number 20, we have a massively aging population. And the science and data shows that through stem cells, peptides, bacterial work in the gut, and enzyme therapy, we can change the game for older folks. But when's the last time your doctor told you about that?
Yeah, they don't.
Folks, listen, I'm going to wrap it up right now. I want you to go back and listen to this again and share this with your friends and family members. Folks, this is a game changer. If you'll get your head wrapped around where we came from with our healthcare, you get an idea of where you can go with your own self-care. And folks, until we meet again, I'm Dr. Eric Nepute. God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the world. I'll see you next time, and be well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me
I
pull
got
up
chills.
so we can see what it looks like. So definitely, guys, go and follow the Pep Talk podcast with Dr. Eric Nepute, Pep Talk World podcast on YouTube. Just started with this, but so we did number 2, and he's up to episode 7 now. They're about 30 minutes, but I mean, he gets more into, gut health. I think there's one about peptides already. But really, really good stuff, and just bringing people the truth. So there is nothing. This is not even launched yet, guys. Like, this is not. We don't have a link. There's nothing to tell you about right now. If you want to know more, reach out to one of us, and we can get you, into some of the groups where we're starting to like train and educate people on all of this. But this is what Ricardo is going to see in Vegas this weekend. I would be going, but it's my parents' 50th anniversary for their wedding, so I will be staying here with the family. But otherwise, I was pumped about going for this. We listened to Dr. Eric Nepute talk for about 6 hours when we went to Phoenix, and I almost never take notes. I filled up 3 of these notebooks. Like, I just kept writing and writing and writing because all of the information he was putting out was so good. And it was like stuff like I knew was accurate, but I just didn't have a way to put it together. So, I mean, we're talking about doing DNA tests so we know exactly what you need for your specific body. We're talking about epigenetics. We're talking about, like we said, absorption with peptides at 60 to 80%, just like the shots, but taken orally. I mean, we talked about the Wolverine peptide that causes cellular healing, with the Wolverine and Deadpool movie being huge. They self-heal, right? So there's peptides literally called the Wolverine peptide because it causes cellular healing at the cell level. So man, I'm excited, M.I.M.S. Definitely, go live, take good notes, let us know what's going on. Your last words tonight as we're signing off, and man, I'm just excited about helping people get healthy.
Yeah, man, I got chills, man. I was wanting you to keep reading your notes. Some good notes there. There was some good highlights. But no, I mean, folks, and I don't know if I said it correctly earlier. $500 billion with a T, they sued him for. I see why. $500 billion, folks. They sued Dr. Eric Nepute for. He won. Now he has patented technology that's going to allow us to be able to take advantage of these peptides, which is an amino acid that is a catalyst that puts your cells to work, tells your cells to go to work, to aid and heal your body on a cellular level. And he has that patented technology where, it passes the GI tract. And of course, there's just a lot of things that people don't know how to heal thyself, and that information is going to come with this as well. But I'm fired up and excited. There's a revolution taking place, and almost it seems like every area of human activity. And we're involved in those biggest areas financially, what's going on in the monetary system and the shift that's taking place there with assets, physical and digital. And now we're part of the biggest, probably the most important revolution in human activity, which is our health and our wellness. And we're doing that with Dr. Nepute and BioLimitless. And I can't wait to come out of Vegas with more information and links and products.
Let me drop a little more knowledge, Mim, since you're excited about that. So we're basically going to be microdosing peptides. Unlike the shot that gives you one massive dose, it will have a more gradual release. So basically, you're using a sniper rifle instead of a shotgun. And then he's also going to be utilizing stem cells to make exosome. We have the FDA first approved exosome, and we can give up to 400 times more stem cells with the cell signaling technology than what is currently available. We have an immune modulator that stops inflation as well. That was all on one page, guys.
Wow.
And
Immune modulator stops inflation. And we might have to do another live stream where you just read your notes, okay, or something, because you got some good notes. I'm fired up and excited. And this is amazing information. I'm just really pumped. There's so much value here. This is such life-changing information. And like you talked about, when you said they blast you with the peptides with the injection, there are even like side effects, to that.
Right.
But with microdosing, it doesn't have that. So this is huge, folks. There are multiple applications that are going to be coming out with the peptides that are going to help aid and heal your body. I'm excited to take a couple of them and document my journey. Make sure you guys like this out and share this out. This is huge. This is the biggest thing that I've ever been a part of, and that probably will take place in the healthcare space, from what Dr. Eric Nepute has done with his patented technology and what we're doing with peptides. So I can't wait to share some more information with you guys after Vegas.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Remember to like this, share it out, lace up. Let's get healthy.
Let's get healthy.
Let's get healthy and wealthy. We got to change it up. All right, guys.